what I would like to say firstly is that one of the main, being on earth and progressing towards God is a fair bit different in some ways to being in the spirit world and progressing towards God. And there are a number of very practical and logical reasons why that is the case, which I would like to describe to you. You remember that here on earth, we're basically, you could say the earth is in the first sphere state. So I'm going to have to get used to writing on a whiteboard now. It's a first sphere state, right? And then of course you've got the second sphere, the third sphere. These are all dimensional spaces in the universe and so forth. So you've got these spheres of progression, let's call them. Now each one of those, of course, is a different gradient of love, right? So we know that's the case. Now, because the earth is in this first sphere, when we live on the earth and we're trying to progress, we're trying to get out of what everybody else actually does. Because most people around us are in that same place, right? And we're trying to get ourselves, if you like, out of the mud from an emotional perspective. Now that's very, very hard when you're surrounded with other people who want you to stay in the mud, isn't it? Because you just climb yourself out and somebody looks at you just about out, right? And you're just about teetering on the edge of the mud and somebody gives you a push back into it, right? And away you go again, splat, and you've got to climb yourself back out again. And there's a lot of different things really going on emotionally and also in terms of external pressures that cause us to struggle when we're on earth. Now, when we're in the spirit world, there are a number of different truths that we know to be true compared to when we're on earth. For example, one of the truths is that you can't die, right? Or that you could say death is just a doorway into another dimension. Because on earth, many of us have a lot of resistance to even accepting that emotionally, don't we? Where we are very afraid of death. We're very afraid of what will happen afterwards, what will happen to our life afterwards, what will happen to people around us. And you look at the world generally, how they respond to the aspect of death. Like we don't want to talk about it, do we? If we do talk about it, it's like the monster in the room most of the time, isn't it, for many of us? And so what we finish up doing with regard to death is ignoring it most of our life until we're just about to die, right? And then, of course, we want to talk about it, but nobody around us generally does unless they are also just about to die. And a lot of times what we're doing really is trying to avoid the fact that you're all going to die, right? And much of our life is spent avoiding that emotionally. And so can you see, when I get to the state where I no longer believe that death can affect me, I'm going to be very different to that in terms of emotionally different to everyone around me. Not only that, let's say I did pass, and let's say I was on the Divine Love path. What would happen on the Divine Love path is that I would attract some spirits who are on the Divine Love path to assist me. And those spirits will obviously be quite bright, and I've learnt now on earth that actually the brighter the spirit, the more they are in a state of love. So therefore they know more than I do about love. And so I can then start to trust that. The fact is too that I can now see the true condition of people on the earth that they were falsifying to me most of their life as well. So I can easily read, so I go along and I visit my wife who's still on earth. Oh, she didn't really like me very much. It's a bit sad finding that out after living with her for 50 years, but, it's like there's a lot of emotions that come up about that. And then we go along to our best friend. Oh, my best friend's actually in love with my wife. Oh. Well, I didn't know that either, all that time, right? And then we go along to our children. Whoa, they're not very impressed with me. Okay, well, what went on there? And I start looking back at my life and seeing why they might not be too impressed with me due to my actions or whatever. And then I go along to see my mates down at the footy thing that I used to go to every weekend. Wow, they don't even give a stuff I'm dead. So we start feeling, you see, different emotions with different people. And because we now can see the truth about different things, it makes it a bit easier for us to begin facing the truth ourselves. Can you see that? Like we can now see the truth of these interactions. So after a while, we've got this divine love spirits who come to help us in the spirit world. So we're in maybe, by this stage, we're maybe in the second sphere. And we're now quite trusting of these spirits, knowing that they're brighter than us and everything they've taught us, we're progressing through. We're now trusting that there must be other dimensions in the spirit world, whereas before we were on earth, you know, it was just something somebody told me and I don't really know for sure. And so there's a lot of different things that cause me to feel like I want to stay on the divine love path in terms of my progression. Also, I can start comparing things, and I see the man that's on the natural love path and what he's doing and how slowly he progresses compared to me dealing with my emotions and have this stuff come out of me, and I progress very rapidly. So I can compare even that. I can actually see the truth of what's going on very easily. Not only that, I'm not surrounded by people I can't see. I'm surrounded by everyone that I can only see. And when I say people I can't see, obviously there's people who are higher up in their development of love than I am that I can't see. But the people that are around me in poor conditions, or the people around me, or in the same condition as me, or the people that are around in poorer conditions than me, I can actually visit them anytime I want. Right? So I can actually go down to the person that I thought, you know, I was mates with, who was in the spirit world before I passed, and I can look at him and go, gee whiz, he's a scary fellow. Like, I don't know if I want to spend time with him now, you know. But while I was on the earth, I might have been spending time with him every single moment of my life, because he might have been attached to me through some kind of attraction, influencing me. Now, when I'm in the spirit world, I can see the people who are influencing me. Does that make sense? I can see the effects they're having on me. I can feel the emotions of the projection when they enter me and everything. I can do everything and see everything a lot more clearly. So I can notice what's actually influencing me a lot more. And then not only that, I can see the auric field of the spirit body of the person, which means that I can see the colours in their body and associate those colours with different emotions. And I can see the correlation between their emotions and my emotions and what's actually causing my law of attraction. So when I pass, I'm now looking at somebody else and I say, oh, you've got the same emotion as I have. Oh, we're both upset with women. Oh, okay, that's probably why we've been mates a lot of our life, right? Because we can get together and talk about women, or even if we don't talk about women, we feel comfortable with each other because both of us are in the same state of feeling upset towards women. And we can then determine whether we want to address that emotion or not in order to progress. Now, all of those things are available to me when I pass in the spirit world, but they seemingly, and I say seemingly because it's not really a truth, but seemingly they are not available to me here on earth. In other words, seemingly I can't see spirits. For many of us that's the truth, right? And so therefore I can't see their auric field and I can't see their body and I can't see their emotions. I can walk up to somebody here on earth who looks nice and pretty or handsome, and I think he must be in good condition, but really he's not in good condition, and I think he is because I can't see the truth of what's coming out of him emotionally. Can you see that? I now seemingly see, again, because there is ways for you to see, but often we feel we can't.